This is the DeMaio Show. We're giving you the story behind the story. We're fighting to take back our state for a better California. Let me tell you some of the problems I have with Darrell Issa. I know I'm running against him for the March 3rd congressional primary in the 50th congressional district in California. And I know some of you might say, well, what about Reagan's 11th commandment? Never speak ill of a fellow Republican. You know what? I disagree with that. Here's why. When your own party, when career politicians in your own party step out and do the wrong thing, you got to hold them accountable. You know, we've had too much nicety in our politics of, well, he's a Republican, so let's give him a pass. No. You cannot let your own party have a pass on issues, because then you lose credibility when you criticize the other party, the opposing party. And so let me lay out some of the concerns I have with Darrell Issa. You know, years ago, I didn't know much about him, but I kind of thought he's pretty good, I guess. But then I started realizing that Darrell Issa was all about himself. Like a career politician, he really didn't care about helping the team. He only cared about his own interests. And I think you saw that in how he lost his last congressional seat. The 49th district here in California was a safe Republican seat until Darrell Issa got into that seat and neglected his constituents. We were looking at some of his travel records, and one year he only came back to the district 3 times. And so we heard from people in the district, the 49th district, that they felt neglected. As a result, Darrell Issa lost the support of his constituents. He almost lost his election in 2016. And in 2018, he saw the polls and realized, I'm going to lose. And instead of trying to fix the problem and fight for his seat, he basically quit. He quit on his constituents and quit on the Republican Party. He quit on President Trump instead of standing and fighting. That compounded our problems in California because an open seat is easier for Democrats to pick up. Had Darrell Issa stood and fought for his seat, I believe that we would have had less seats in Orange County and Central Valley lost to the Democrats. But because he made it easy for the Democrats to pick up the 49th seat by quitting late in the process and not putting up a fight, we lost other seats statewide. I don't like quitters. I don't like people who put themselves in a bad spot and then chicken out. So that's my first problem with the guy. Our DNA is different. He's a quitter. I tend to feel like we need fighters. Second, his votes are pretty bad. If you go to whoisissa.com, whoisissa.com, a lot of this stuff is laid out on that website, and it's all documented. But this is a guy who voted for the debt limit increase 7 times. This is a guy who pledged that he will fight to fund Planned Parenthood with our tax dollars. This is a guy who says that the border wall is, quote, unnecessary. He authored a bill to give 11 million illegal immigrants amnesty. This is a guy who betrayed President Trump by going on the Bill Maher show. This is that liberal, and I'm not even going to call him a comedian, liberal commentator on HBO, Bill Maher, who had Issa on his show, and Issa said, I'm all for a special prosecutor, and Jeff Sessions needs to recuse himself. You know, that put President Trump and his family in a bind. Issa basically bought into the Russia collusion scam, and this notion of a witch hunt was needed to go and investigate the president. When you have someone on the Republican side basically enable and validate Democrat smears and attacks, it really doesn't help the president. This is someone who's called Israel an apartheid state. He opposed the Trump travel ban using language that the Democrats raised about how it was a Muslim ban. The list goes on and on. But we've also seen Darrell Issa, worth $400 million personally, enrich himself while in Congress. The 2010 story that's on our website about how he got federal dollars to improve a road right in front of a building that he just purchased. It raises the stench of conflict of interest. That's why I don't believe Darrell Issa is the person we should have in the 50th district. He's a career politician who won't have the president's back, who won't fight for us. And I think he had 18 years in Congress, and 18 years is well enough. I'm not impressed by the results. I saw him on TV a lot, huffing and puffing. But unlike the Democrats who actually took legal action against the president, did Issa take action against Lois Lerner in the IRS scandal? Did Issa take action against Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder? No. He huffed and puffed, but that was about it. If you're going to go after and build a case against scandal and abuse of power that was so evident in the IRS issue with Lois Lerner, it was so evident in Fast and Furious with Eric Holder, then you're just going to do it for the TV cameras? Are you not going to follow through and actually hold people accountable? That's what I want to see. Not someone who talks the talk, but someone who walks the walk and can actually put together the strategy to hold people accountable. Darrell Issa is pretending to be a conservative, but he failed on all of the conservative scorecards, whether it was Club for Growth or Heritage Action or Freedom Works. These are conservative organizations that score and grade members of Congress on whether they're conservative or not. Issa got Fs on their scorecards. The scorecards are on the website, whoisissa.com. Another one, he voted against aid and services for military families and said that 9/11 first responder aid was not justified. I look at this and I'm like, we're a military town. We support our first responders. I don't understand how he could say something like this, how he could vote against important programs for Camp Pendleton. He also opposed the president on his tax relief, costing the average resident in the 50th district $2,400 more in taxes, a $2,400 increase in their tax burden. That was what his vote represented to the average household in the 50th district. Now the list goes on and on. But the reason why I'm running is not because of Darrell Issa. I got into the race far before Darrell Issa. He got in because he was a Johnny-come-lately. But now I'm even more committed to making sure he doesn't get this seat because he'll waste it. He'll neglect our constituents, and he will lose the seat again. I think it's time that we have people who are going to fight, not only for the constituents, but fight to take back our state. And that's what my candidacy represents, and I'm hoping to earn your support in this election. Check it out, whoisissa.com. That's the website. Again, I don't like speaking ill of someone if it's not justified, but I don't believe that you give a pass to members of your own party when they are not suitable, when they're not reflecting the principles that they say to their constituents they espouse. We'll pick it up next time on the Carl DeMaio Show. Hope you're enjoying. Share the podcast with people. Let them download it on their favorite podcast app. And, of course, support us at carldemaio.com or forbettercalifornia.org. This podcast was paid for by Carl DeMaio for Congress. I'm Carl DeMaio, and I approve this message.